If you like variety in your anime, you gotta at least try Verve for 30 days, vrv.co/geekdom. Try it out for free, and you can watch shows like Rising of the Shield Hero, Demon Slayer, Black Clover, and Attack on Titan, plus classic long-running shonen like Naruto, One Piece, Dragon Ball Super, and so many others. There's so much anime on Verve that it's completely overrun with content. Try it out, vrv.co/geekdom. The link is in the description. Alright, so Spider-Man Far From Home spoiler review. If you have not seen the movie, this is not the video for you. Go watch the movie, go watch the film Spider-Man Far From Home, then come back to the video and have a discussion about the spoilers of the movie, because there's quite a bit of stuff that was not in the trailer. About 89-90% of the plot, not every scene, but the plot was not in the trailer. A lot of stuff happens in this film. We're going to get into it right now. So, my thoughts, spoiler review. Like I said in my non-spoiler, which I think y'all should check out as well, because there's more stuff I get into there as far as acting goes. With this review, it's more so going to be focused on story and what they did with the characters, but a little bit of acting. But I talked about, Jake Gyllenhaal was great and Tom Holland's great. The acting is fine. Special effects, hit or miss. The Mysterio CGI I thought was great. The fights with Mysterio and the Elementals. And again, I'm doing this review assuming you've seen the movie, right? I'm just going to assume you've seen it because that's what this is for. It all looked good. It actually looked really good. I watched it on the big Dolby screen with the great sound. It looked amazing. And that was fine. But there was a lot of bad CGI, mostly with vehicles. There were ships like Happy Hogan's helicopter, helicraft, that ship that he uses, that plane. All those things just didn't look right. They looked very, very fake. And there were some shots where the drones looked fake too. But everything with Mysterio was great. And like I said in my non-spoiler, Mysterio was never one of my favorite villains. This is the most interesting they've done him in a while. Now again, I know Quentin Beck. I know the kind of character he is. But the way they were able to tie him back into Stark Industries, how he's the one who made the barf technology, which I was not expecting them to go that far with it. The fact that they basically lied about the multiverse, which a lot of people were predicting. I saw that prediction going around a lot. And the fact that it was all just a plan to screw with the world to make himself the new Iron Man. He wants to be the Iron Man Mysterio wants to be Iron Man not to save people, because remember, his whole thing was, yeah, people have to die and I'm going to come in and be the hero and save some people, but there are going to be casualties. That's a prick thing to do. That is not a hero. A hero wants to save everybody. He wants to be Iron Man for the glory. He wants to have that love of the Avengers and Iron Man and Spider-Man from the public because they saved the world. He wants that, but he's a bullshitter. He's a liar because he's using these, the whole drone hallucination. It wasn't really hallucination. I mean, it kind of was. It was a form of it. The holograms and whatnot. He's using that to make himself be something that he's not, just for glory. And I love the fact that the film essentially covers some disgruntled Stark Enterprises employees who want revenge because Tony Stark used their tech for, in their opinion, selfish ways, even though he used his tech to save the world several times. And the movie, of course, constantly brings up Iron Man. You see him in the background of shots. You see him, pictures of him, both, actually Tony Stark and in the Iron Man suit. So his presence is looming over this movie, and I really like that this movie was sort of like a tribute to the Iron Man franchise and to Homecoming and just the importance of that character. People were saying that Tony Stark was sort of like Uncle Ben in a way, and I guess he sort of is. He's not a replacement for Uncle Ben, but he is a mentor figure, except it's more so like a mentor, not so much for Peter being a man, but also for him being a hero and his coming of age story in this movie. I really thought that the stuff with Betsy and Ned was really funny, but at the same time, Ned's kind of a prick. Ned's kind of a prickish, he's supposed to be his best friend, and he acts like a selfish douche way too many times in this movie, but it was all played up for comedy, and you gotta have that character. So not Mary Jane, that's not her name, MJ, Michelle, she knows now who's that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. I had a problem a long time ago with too many people finding out Spider-Man's secret identity, but I guess if they're gonna go forward with the relationship, she's gonna have to know, and I'm pretty sure that in the future her life will end up being in danger because of the fact that she is obviously dating Peter Parker. She's dating Spider-Man. So they kind of have to establish that now. I don't know what the plan is going forward as far as how many Spider-Man movies we're going to get. We might get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We don't know. I mean, that's the truth. We have no idea. It hasn't come out yet, or, we don't know. But it's interesting because it's one of those things where they might be doing it too soon, but at the same time, I'm okay with it because their MCU's kind of at the mercy of Sony in some ways. It really is more of a Sony flick than an MCU flick, even though it is part of the MCU. So they don't want to wait too long before pulling the trigger on the relationship. And I think it worked out relatively well. I think that MJ in the MCU is way cooler than MJ in the Raimi films. Maybe not physically as accurate. It's a different MJ, of course, not the same MJ, but she's way more... She's way more of an interesting character. She's way funnier. She's more sarcastic. She has depth to her. I liked her character a lot. And of course, Sam Jackson is always great. Always, always great. He is now the glue of this MCU. It used to be Tony Stark. Now it is Sam Jackson. Because they were in the first movie. I mean, they were the first, truly recurring characters. Your War Machine's also in there, Pepper. But really, as far as Avengers go, it was Tony and Nick Fury at first, so it's good to have him still around. Maria Hill was great too, and I love the end credit scene with, I hope y'all stay for the credits, with the Skrulls and that little joke going back to Captain Marvel. So if you didn't see Captain Marvel, you might not fully get that joke, but I'm glad they're using these characters, the Skrulls, beyond just the Captain Marvel movie. So it'll be cool to see how more Skrulls get involved in the MCU. So I'm looking forward to that as well. And the fact that Nick Fury is taking a space vacation. That's just played up for laughs. Mid-credit scene, of course, set up a couple of interesting arcs where now Spider-Man is going to be vilified by J. Jonah Jameson and Daily Bugle. And the fact that they got J.K. Simmons, I was ecstatic. Dude, I was so freaking happy. Nobody on Earth, there is not a soul on Earth who is better at playing J. Jonah Jameson than freaking J.K. Simmons. He's one of the best character actors ever. He's incredible, brilliant man, and he's back and in the MCU just like how he was in the Raimi trilogy. And man, I was so freaking happy because when I saw him there, I see Spider-Man with Mary Jane, I see J. Jonah, and I'm like, okay, now this is Spider-Man. Now we are back to classic Spider-Man, and going forward, I think we're going to see more of that classic Spider-Man as opposed to kind of the Homecoming Spider-Man, which was, more of the MCU Spider-Man. It was different than what we've seen in previous portrayals, more modern, and we saw some of that here. I mean, don't forget he used the electric web in this movie, which after playing the PS4 Spider-Man game, I gained a brand new appreciation for that move. We saw him do it. It was awesome. I loved it so very much. I really did. That was a great little thing that they did. Him using that and the way he modified his own suit. He has a new suit that has technology, but it's not quite the Iron Spider suit, which I think he still has somewhere. And I like the fact that he has different suits now. And of course what was the monkey, black monkey or whatever, dark monkey. That was good stuff. And again, I like that it's the coming of age. He's not going to replace Tony, but he's going to learn how to use Tony's stuff when beneficial to save the world, and that's a good thing. And I like where they're going with that. So the storyline's going to be that Spider-Man's going to be vilified, and that means that other villains might come after him, or maybe even other heroes. So Phase 4 is looking to be a lot more fun. I don't think we're going to get an Extinction level event like we did with Avengers Endgame and Infinity War for quite some time. I think they will be big stories, but not oh my god, the world's going to end type stuff. Although I think we will see that with a couple of the cosmic Marvel films. I feel like with Guardians, it's going to go probably more towards a different planet being in danger, which is fine. But something like Thanos wiping out the Earth and killing people, we're probably not going to deal with that on that level for quite some time where all the heroes have to get together. Probably not until the end of Phase 4 or even the end of Phase 6 if they're going to do 3 more phases of build-up. But we'll see. I mean, again, I don't know what Feige has planned. We'll find out at San Diego Comic-Con. But the idea of Spider-Man being on the lam is a great story that could be told great if done right. So I'm excited for that. Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. I had a feeling he was going to be revealed to be a villain. I was waiting for it. And when they actually did the reveal, when all the holograms left and he started laughing, I'm like, okay, He's back to being comic book Mysterio, but he's more awesome because he fooled Nick Fury. And then at the end of the movie, when you find out that it wasn't actually Nick Fury, I'm like, whoa, so he really didn't fool Nick Fury, so it kind of made it into a joke. And I saw some people saying that, oh, this movie makes everything into a joke. No, not everything, because Tony Stark's death was not played up for laughs. It was a very impactful, heartbreaking thing that affected Peter, and it affected the villains because it gave them a platform to become villains. If Tony was alive, they couldn't do that, at least not in the same way. And the fact that they kind of played up the spider sense and how he's developing the spider sense, the Peter tingle, that's good stuff. He's still sort of growing as a character, and they're kind of molding and shaping this Spider-Man into being a mixture of the old and the new, and I like that. I really like the direction they're going in with Spider-Man. And it just sucks that they had to kill off Mysterio, even though he was Jake Gyllenhaal was great. I mean, that's a great actor. I mean, you've got J.K. Simmons and Jake Gyllenhaal, two guys who have been notorious for creating characters and films that are like top quality auteur films. Like, we ain't even talking about Mick Hollywood popcorn movies. We're talking about actual like groundbreaking narratives, and these guys are in the MCU just killing it. You know what I'm saying? Killing it. Jake Gyllenhaal had a great time. He was great. Like when he did that speech like Steve Jobs. He talks like Steve Jobs. I don't know if it's supposed to be a play on Steve Jobs, but he's sitting there giving these awesome speeches, and it was just so much fun. There were, again, some awkward edits, and there were some awkward one-liners. Sam Jackson's punchlines did not connect, like Nick Fury's did not connect as well as I thought they should have. The two teachers were just not funny to me at all. There was like one scene that I thought was funny. Most of the comedy to me came from, in my opinion, came from Ned and Betsy. They were really good. Also, Brad was great. You know, the scene where he walks in on Peter and he got his pants down, he takes a picture. I mean, then later on, they kind of play up the fact that he is creepy because he's trying to get MJ for himself, and Peter, he caught Peter in a bad moment, changing, and he wants to blackmail Peter, and then MJ's like, I don't like you anyways. Like, I love that it wasn't that whole like, I'm a dumb girl and I fall for the handsome guy who's actually a dick stuff. No, MJ is not dumb. She's very smart, and she saw through Brad's BS. I love that about that character. That was such good writing. It really was. Like, think about that. Think about what I'm telling you, how it wasn't stereotypical at all. She actually did like Peter for Peter, not even for Spider-Man. She liked him as a person, even though she was probably, you're meant to think she was tempted by Brad. She saw that he was a prick, and even the teacher calls him out, hey, you shouldn't be taking pictures of dudes with their pants down, man. What are you doing, like, in the bathroom? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's creepy. Like, and it's true, he's a creep. And that was good stuff. Really enjoyed that. I just wonder, like, what's going to happen with all the guys who helped out Mysterio? Like, the other Stark employees, are they going to end up getting arrested? Did they get arrested? We found nothing out about them, but the fact that they actually brought back the dude from Iron Man 1 was fantastic. Also, I like the Happy Hogan Aunt May stuff. I really like that stuff because, Tony kind of somewhat flirted with her, but he wasn't really flirting because he loved Pepper. But Happy Hogan was like, hey, I'm in love with your aunt. He actually said that in the movie, and I really hope that continues and we get some more comedy out of that. Because again, Kevin Feige's kind of experimenting with kind of playing with characters and moving them around and things like that. But I don't know. He's trying new things, and I like that. Phase 4, if it keeps up, will be very different from Phase 1, 2, and 3, and I want it to be different because comic book movies are all the same. I mean, they got kind of formulaic, and whenever they do creative stuff like Ragnarok and, of course, Infinity War Endgame, things like that, like, it's refreshing to do something different. And having Spider-Man and these characters do these different things, and having a villain like Mysterio who is all about illusions and tech, and you have to beat him by using your brain and your instincts, is great. I mean, that's the kind of, it would have been better, to me it's better than having like Electro or Scorpion or Rhino, and I love those villains, don't get me wrong, but it's a different kind of threat to Peter than Mysterio was in this movie, you know what I mean? Venom, of course, one of my favorites. If they decide to do that storyline and actually do it more like the original comics with Secret Wars and everything, I'd be okay with it, but again, Mysterio just provided a new kind of threat for Peter, a different kind of threat, and I really like that. And it's too bad that he died in the film, even though they could always bring him back. I mean, it could have been another illusion or something. There's always a way around, a character being killed off. And it's never like a permanent death ever. But I don't think so. I think he probably is actually gone. I like that. Now, one thing I did not like, and you might not agree with me on this one, but the fact that Peter got hit by an actual bullet train, like that wasn't a regular train, that was a bullet train, and survived, and wasn't even was barely even dented. He just took a nap for a while. To me, that was dumb, because yes, I know that Spider-Man's very durable and very strong. We know that. But it wasn't like he just got hit by a train. He got hit by a bullet train on the side, like blindsided by one. And it was just one of those things where I was like, all right, he's not even injured. I didn't like that. I thought it was too hard of a hit, if that makes sense. And, in the movie, you've got illusions kind of messing with Peter, holograms messing with Peter. But this train, I don't know. I didn't like that. What I did like, though, I loved all of the Mysterio hallucination scenes, like when he's in that kind of weird world where they have constantly stuff changing and he's confused. That was some incredible cinematography, and they didn't put that in any of the trailers, and they hit a lot of the stuff with Mysterio in the trailers, but it was really good. It was really well done. It felt like a Spider-Man comic or like an episode of the TV series. It really, really felt that way. And you had your Spider-Man MCU pseudoscience stuff going on. You had Peter using his brain again. Lots of parts in the film where Peter was an intellectual, which is something that I think people forget, that he's very smart as well, even though he's a kid. Really, I had a great time, but I still don't think it was as well written as Far From Home. I think the movie, it just feels, I think it does feel a bit overhyped, maybe because it's after the Avengers Endgame film. It was still good, don't get me wrong, but there were people saying it was the best Spider-Man film. And again, if you think that, nothing wrong with thinking that, but I just don't think it had the clever writing of a movie like a Spider-Verse. And Spider-Man 2 had Alfred Molina, who was just an incredible actor and a great story. Spider-Man 2 did, the Sam Raimi one. And I think that this movie, what it was missing is the Spider-Man sense of humor. Peter Parker was not as quippy as he is in the comics. He was a little bit too serious, I feel, in this movie, a little bit too nervous. That, to me, was an issue, in my opinion. Spider-Man's supposed to be this kind of trash-talking superhero, and he was that in Civil War. Don't forget that. He has been this way before in the MCU, but in this movie, it just felt like he was just too serious, and they kind of missed the humorous side of Spider-Man. The comedy came from his friends and, other characters. And while this movie is not on the scale of Endgame, nor is it of the quality, I mean, I'm sorry, but it's just not. It did do a lot of things. It moved the plot along. It showed us the post-snap world, the blip, as they called it. It showed us the ramifications of the death of Tony Stark on everyone, including his own co-workers, his ex-co-workers, or his employees, or whatever. It showed us the effect on Peter, Happy Hogan, and everybody else. Sam Jackson. It really showed us the world after Avengers Endgame. It didn't really answer what the future of the Avengers were. It said that Doctor Strange is not available and that Captain Marvel was not on Earth and don't invoke her name and all this stuff. So I guess they're teasing, of course, what that will all probably be explained in their movies, right? And I'm guessing their movies will probably take place right around the same time as this one, but I could be wrong on that. We'll find out again soon. Well, maybe not too soon, because they might not put those movies out for years. It might not be till 2021, 2022 when we get Doctor Strange 2. We don't know. We don't know yet. Or 2020. I don't know. But that's sort of, the movie did kind of further that along, and it did further along the Peter Parker, Mary Jane stuff, because they're together now, and it introduced JJ. So we've got, I'm smiling at that, man, because it really felt like Spider-Man. It really, really felt like Spider-Man, and that was the important thing here. But again, it's not the best MCU movie. I don't think it's better than Captain America: Civil War or Winter Soldier. I don't think it's better than Thor: Ragnarok. It's in the mid to upper tier, in my opinion. I'll put it with I think I might like it a tiny bit more than Guardians of the Galaxy 1, even though I like that movie. It's right around that range. I don't think it's as good as Iron Man 1 or Endgame or Infinity War. I would probably say I liked it more than Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I like those movies a lot. I think I like this one a tiny bit more. We'll really know when we get to the rewatch era, when we're rewatching these, and we're like, okay, Do I really want to see this movie again? Is it really going to be good? Am I excited for this? But I liked it though from my first viewing, and but I'm not really like craving to go see it again. Whereas with Endgame, I saw it like 3 times. You know what I mean? So to me, again, great movie, fun movie. Not a classic, but it did further along Spider-Man for a possible future classic. Good movie, fun movie, not a waste of time. And also, at all, I loved it. I had a great time watching it. And it was different. And it was fresh. And it felt fun. And it really brought back like the fun days of going to the movies. And again, I have fun at the movies all the time, but this kind of had that sense of adventure. Plus, it's the only Spider-Man movie that does not take place in New York. One of the few Spider-Man stories that are not in New York, and I love the change of scenery. Loved it. So there was a lot of stuff to love about this movie, and I'm really curious about where they're going to go with Phase 4, because I think they are going to focus on individual story arcs. Like Spider-Man will have his story. You'll have the Eternals having their story. Black Widow, her backstory. The Guardians will have their story. So I think everyone's going to separate for a while, right? And do their own thing. And then probably come back when the big the big crossover happens. Whether it be Avengers versus X-Men or whatever they decide to do, Galactus, we don't even know. Again, San Diego Comic-Con will answer that, but they'll all probably come back. But for now, they're probably going to do different story threads that don't tie in as much, because there's also the Infinity Stones are probably not going to be a thing in Phase 4, so they don't have that big sort of MacGuffin. But I do hope that Feige has a plan for what they're going to do little by little, building up to the big climax, whether it be at the end of Phase 4, at the end of Phase 5, and of Phase 6. Because remember, every phase had its big climactic Avengers movie, but now the Avengers aren't even the same anymore. So are they going to even do another movie with the Avengers? Is it going to be called Avengers? Will it be called Avengers Secret Wars, or just Secret Wars, or will it be called New Avengers, Young Avengers? There's a lot of things they can do, guys. There's a lot of things they can do, and everyone in the comment section is probably going to want something different, or they want the same thing, just good movies, and this was a good one, so go see it. Well, you already did if you're watching this review, I hope. Anyways, that's it. That is my spoiler thoughts for Spider-Man Far From Home, and San Diego Comic-Con will give us answers to what's coming. Thank you, and I'll talk to y'all soon.